The last thing I expected when I walked into that store was for a stranger to quietly take my arm and whisper, "Ma'am, please come with me." Just minutes earlier, my husband had smiled at me and said, "I'll only be gone for a few minutes." I believed him. After 12 years of marriage, why wouldn't I? But while I stood there waiting with our shopping bags in my hands, a store employee looked at me with a worried expression and said something that made my entire world stop. What he showed me behind that counter changed everything I thought I knew about my husband. My name is Emily Carter, and I'm 29 years old. For most of my adult life, I believed I knew exactly who my husband was. Daniel and I had been married for 12 years, and if someone asked me to describe our relationship, I would have said we were one of those couples who had grown stronger with time. Daniel was the kind of man who remembered small things. He knew how I liked my coffee, which flowers I loved, and how I always checked every item twice before leaving a store. He wasn't perfect, but he was dependable. The person I called when I was stressed, the person I trusted when life became difficult. That Saturday afternoon started like any ordinary day. We went to a large department store because Daniel wanted to buy something for our anniversary dinner the following week. We walked through the aisles together, laughing about random things, joking about how long it took me to decide between two nearly identical dresses. For a moment, everything felt normal. Then, while we were near the electronics section, Daniel suddenly looked at his phone. His expression changed for just a second before he quickly put it away. "I'll be right back," he said with a smile. "Just a few minutes." I laughed and told him not to disappear because I still needed his opinion on a few things. "Relax," he said. "I won't be long." I watched him walk away, expecting him to return within minutes. But 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 20, and for the first time that day, I felt a strange feeling in my stomach. Something wasn't right. I tried to convince myself that Daniel was simply caught up in something. Maybe he ran into an old friend. Maybe he had a phone call he needed to take. Maybe there was a reasonable explanation. But as each minute passed, that uneasy feeling became harder to ignore. I walked through the store, checking the nearby aisles, looking around every corner. I called his name quietly, not wanting to make a scene. Nothing. I pulled out my phone and called him. The first call rang until it ended. The second call went straight to voicemail. That was when my heart started beating faster. Daniel never ignored my calls. Not for 20 minutes. Not without a message. Not without telling me where he was. I was standing near the customer service desk, trying to decide what to do next, when a store employee approached me. "Excuse me, ma'am?" I turned around and saw a man wearing a store badge. He looked nervous, like he wasn't sure whether he should say what was on his mind. "Yes." He glanced around before lowering his voice. "Are you here with the man who is wearing the gray jacket?" My stomach tightened. "Yes, my husband." "Why?" The employee hesitated for a moment. Then he quietly said, "Ma'am, please come with me." Those words immediately sent a cold feeling through my entire body. I followed him toward the back office, my mind racing with 100 different possibilities. Inside, he closed the door and looked at me seriously. "I didn't want to embarrass you in front of everyone," he said, "but I think you need to see this." He reached for something on the desk, and the moment I saw what he was holding, I realized this wasn't about a simple shopping trip anymore. This was about a secret my husband had been hiding from me. The employee placed a small envelope on the desk in front of me. For a few seconds, I just stared at it. "What is this?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He took a deep breath before answering. "When your husband came into the store earlier, he wasn't alone. I noticed he seemed nervous. He kept looking around, like he didn't want someone to recognize him." My heart sank. The employee explained that Daniel had met someone near the private customer lounge area. He had seen them exchange documents, and after the other person left, Daniel quickly asked a staff member to hold onto a package until later. The employee wasn't trying to accuse my husband of anything. He simply felt something was wrong and thought I deserved to know. Inside the envelope was a printed receipt and a handwritten note. I recognized Daniel's handwriting immediately. The receipt was for an expensive purchase I had never heard about. A luxury watch. Not for me. Not for our anniversary. The note was the part that hurt the most. It wasn't a love letter. It wasn't an apology. It was a reminder about a meeting scheduled for that evening. I felt my hands go cold. For 12 years, I had trusted Daniel completely. I had defended him when others questioned him. I had believed that whatever problems we faced, we would handle them together. But now I was standing in a store office holding proof that he had a part of his life I knew nothing about. I wanted to call him immediately. I wanted to demand answers. But something inside me stopped. I needed to know the entire truth first. So I thanked the employee, took the evidence, and walked back into the store pretending everything was normal. When Daniel finally returned 30 minutes later, he smiled and said, "Sorry, I got delayed." I looked at the man I loved and realized I was seeing him differently for the first time. "Daniel," I said calmly, "where were you?" Daniel looked at me for a moment, then smiled slightly. "Where was I? I told you. I just had to take care of something." Normally, I would have accepted that answer. Normally, I would have trusted him. But this time was different. I reached into my bag and placed the envelope on the table between us. The color disappeared from his face. For the first time in 12 years, I saw panic in my husband's eyes. "Where did you get that?" he asked. Not, "What is this?" Not, "Why are you upset?" His first question was how I found it, and that told me everything. "Daniel, I need you to tell me the truth," I said. "No excuses. No changing the subject. Just the truth." He sat down slowly and ran his hand through his hair. "I was going to tell you." Those words hurt more than I expected, because people always say that when they are caught. "When?" I asked. "After you already made the decision? After everything was finished?" He stayed silent. The silence answered me. Daniel finally admitted that he had been planning a major financial decision without telling me. He had secretly invested money into a business opportunity with someone from his past, believing it would solve our problems and give us a better future. But the money he used was not only his. It was money we had saved together. Money we had planned to use for our future. "I thought I was protecting you," he said. I looked at him and shook my head. Protecting me would have meant trusting me enough to be honest. That was the moment I realized the problem wasn't just the money. It was the secret. It was the fact that my husband had made a life-changing choice while leaving me completely in the dark. And after that day, I knew our marriage could never go back to the way it was before. The weeks that followed were some of the hardest weeks of my life. Daniel apologized many times. He said he made a mistake. He said he was afraid I would say no. He said he was trying to create a better future for us. But I learned something important. A good intention does not erase a broken trust. We spent months having difficult conversations, trying to understand where we went wrong. Eventually, we both realized that love alone cannot fix everything when honesty is missing. I chose to move forward, not because I stopped caring about Daniel, but because I learned that my feelings mattered too. That day in the store taught me something I will never forget. Sometimes the biggest secrets are not discovered through anger or suspicion. Sometimes they are revealed in the quiet moments when someone else notices what you were too trusting to see. Trust is built through honesty, communication, and respect. And if someone truly values you, they will never make you feel like a stranger in your own marriage. I still remember the employee who whispered those words to me. "Ma'am, please come with me." At the time, I thought those words would break my life. But in the end, they helped me find the truth. And sometimes, the truth is the first step toward a better life.